Hello all, welcome to EduChemy. Today we will be covering the topic of corporate governance. This topic can form a part of your paper 2 in mains as well as your ethics paper. Herein today, when we are dealing with this topic, we are dealing that how should we deal with this topic in an ethics paper. Remember, every paper has a particular vocabulary. So there would be different kinds of keywords which would be needed for your paper 2, and there would be different kind of keywords which is needed for your paper 4. So this topic, how should we use keywords which are relevant more for your ethics paper? So firstly, let's understand what do we mean by corporate governance. It's very simple if we break down the word. Corporate refers to a company, whereas governance refers to the administration. So administration of a company is known as corporate governance. So basically, it is a set of system, processes and principle which ensures that the company is actually being governed by certain values, certain rules, certain regulations. So the company which is being governed by certain rules and regulations, that is meant by the corporate governance, with an aim to seek the interest of all the stakeholders. So here the company is governing with an intention to seek the interest of all the stakeholders. Right. So who are the stakeholders which are involved in a company? So a company has a stakeholders like the board of directors, the managers, the shareholders, the auditors and the customers. The auditors and the customers also form an important role or an important component of the company. So when we talk about the corporate governance, right? So not just the shareholder, but all the stakeholders have to be kept in mind, and the rules and the regulation should be such that actually aims the interest of all these stakeholders. So when we talk about the corporate governance, right? So generally the sole agenda of a company becomes economic interest. However, a corporate governance practice, to be called as a good corporate governance practice, needs to balance between the economic interest, the social interest, as well as the individual or the community interest. Let's understand this via an example. So there's right now in the COVID times, many companies have actually focused on not just the economic interest, but also the social interest, the social obligation of a company. Like Tata's, for example. So Tata's group is known for the best corporate governance practices. So now what Tata have done during the COVID time, it has not only ensured its own welfare, societal welfare, but also the welfare of the laborers or the employees of the organization, right? So how they have done this? Basically, Tata Group has told that those who have actually those who died during the COVID time, that employee would be, and his family or her family would be given whatever the salary is till the 60 years. Okay, till the 60 years. If that employee is at 35, so nearly 25 years, for the 25 years of the service that an employee would have done, his family members would be provided salary. Moreover, many other things have been done by the Tata Group, like for the children's education, they would be providing compensation. So this provides us an example that not only a company has to be interested in the economic profit, but has certain social responsibility, the responsibility to the employees, and this all are encapsulated in the good corporate governance practice. Before we deal on to how that we should deal the topic in ethics paper, it is important for us to understand who all basically constitute the corporate governance, who all are the members. When we say all the stakeholders, so it is not just the board of the director, shareholders, management, but also the customers, right? They also form an equivalent or an important component in the corporate governance. So let's just, for your basic knowledge, understand what do all these stakeholders do. So coming on to the board of director, what does a board of director do? Board of director is basically, in a company, it has the pivotal role. It sets the financial aim of the company. It sets the strategic aim of the company, right? And these board of directors basically are accountable to the stakeholders as well as the shareholders. They are the one where the buck stops. Therefore, they are the one who are basically accountable. And these board of directors in return actually makes the work done by the managers. So management work, who controls the management? It is this board of director. They sets the financial goal, the strategic aim. That is the role of the board of director. Coming on to the importance of the shareholder. So a company is basically governed by the shareholders. They appoint the board of directors. Shareholders appoint the board of directors, and the shareholders hold the board of directors actually accountable. Now comes the managers. What do the managers do? They are basically in the day-to-day functioning of the company. So they are involved at that place. So basically they talk about the management, and they actually work in the lines that is given by the board of director. So it is the responsibility of the manager to see the day-to-day administration. It is the responsibility of the manager to provide very transparent information to the board of director. Now, apart from these constituents of the board of director, the customer is also an integral part, because no company would rather survive without the customer. When we say customer first, we are talking that the company should meet the interest of the customer. It is something on the basis of which the company would survive. But many times what happens is, generally the company, they want to make profit even at the cost of the customers. So this company is basically talking about only the short-term profit that would not take place in the long term. So if the company does not have a customer first orientation, it is doomed to fail in future. Without them, the company cannot survive. Now coming on to the ethics part. How do we deal with this topic in ethics? So we'll see what key terms we have to use for an ethics paper. So when we talk about what are the principles of the good governance, right? So if we have to talk about the principle of good governance, the ethical words that we have to use is like duty-based ethics, means versus end. So the values like transparency, fairness, justice, equity, these all are the key terms that we have to use while we are talking about an ethics paper. So I would deal in the principles of the good corporate governance, that the company should follow or take into account a duty-based ethics. So it is, when we say the constituents, we saw that these are the board of directors, shareholders, stakeholders, the customers, management, that is the constituent. So each part has to give more importance to the duty rather than the rights. Then only a company can function in a very effective manner. So when we talk about the good principles or the principles of the good corporate governance, is that every part has to give importance to the duty. Herein we can talk about the duty-based ethics, that it is the responsibility of the company, that the roles and responsibilities of the board of directors, managers, employees is basically being focused upon. Then the second important thing in the governance, in the good governance of a company, is equity. Everybody is at the different level of hierarchy with different powers, with different responsibility. And therefore, for a company to function in a very effective manner, there should be equity, right? That means there should be good composition with respect to gender, with respect to the caste, with respect to the religion. A company generally is seen, whoever is the leader, the composition gets affected by that manner. But that does not constitute a good corporate governance practice. So there has to be equity in the composition with respect to gender, caste, race, religion, in the appointments, even the number of the size of the various. It should not be seen that only one woman is appointed in the company just for the name's sake. So size and the composition, there should be equity in this principle. Then a company has to make various decisions in the day-to-day functioning. So that these decisions should be fair. There should be honesty. There should be integrity while making these decisions. Then only a company would be called as a good company or an ethical company. Now, when the company has already made the decisions, they should actually disclose them, and the disclosure should be very transparent. That should be known to the all employees, which whatever information is needed for their. Therefore, the disclosure should be timely and should be balanced. Now, when we say that this is all what is there for the good corporate governance, when we say that all good corporate governance can be called as good only if there is trust, only if the trust in the vision of the leader, if there is trust between the employees, if there is a trust between the company and the customer. So these are very important components which are basically help in governance of the company. Trust is a very important component. However, there should not be blind trust. Whenever you trust blindly, you are doomed to have some negative consequence in the future. So there should be a principle of trust but verify. So verification should be there by auditors, by internal auditors, external auditors. So independent verification has to be taken place to safeguard the integrity of the company, right? To safeguard the integrity of the financial statements. So these are the key principles that we have to use, like the duty-based ethics, the fairness, the values, trust but verify, transparent disclosures, and also the ethics in the decision making. Other thing that you can talk about is also about the compassionate capitalism. Now there is an emergence of a new concept, that is compassionate capitalism. We know capitalism is basically, it rewards the one who performs in a better manner. However, there should be compassion also in this capitalism. The values like care, empathy, compassion should be incorporated in the model of capitalism. So whatever is the remuneration, okay, the remuneration should be just. The remuneration should be based on performance rather than something other components. And there should not be too much variation in the remuneration. So when we call about, so there are two types of companies, right? So there are two types of company. One is the low power distance company, and one there is high power distance. What do we mean by this? So this between the head and between the juniors, okay, what is the gap? Whether the company has high gap, high power distance, or a company has a low power distance. And this can be seen in the form of remuneration, in the form of the authority. So when we talk about the compassionate capitalism, we say that the company should be a low power distance company, okay, so that there is compassion, there is not variation, not very high variation in the remuneration. And we talked about the concept of inclusiveness. Not only the shareholders, but the entire stakeholders should be taken into account. These are the principles of the good corporate governance. Now, why do we need good corporate governance? We need good corporate governance because it is important. It is important that not only one should earn the wealth, but one should be ethical enough. So it is important to earn the wealth, not just legally, but also ethically. Why should I be ethical while I'm earning wealth? The reason is, this is one of the sins. If you actually earn the wealth without morals, if you go for commerce without morality, if you go for wealth without worth, it is a sin, it is a vice. And this has also been asked in your UPSC examination, that what are the 7 sins by Gandhiji? So 7 sins, this is one of the sin that was mentioned by Gandhiji. So why do we need good corporate? Because we want to be good. It is important to be just. It is important to be fair. It is important to earn wealth not only legally, but also ethically. Other than that, it is also important to follow good corporate governance practices to bring your credibility, to bring the credibility of a company, to bring good brand image. And when we have good brand image, all the customers, they have a respect towards the company, right? The company acts as an inspiration for the other people as well. Then when we have good corporate governance practices, we actually take care of the laborers. When we take care of the employees or the laborers, they develop a stakeholdership in the company. This also in turn affects the good investor sentiments. Everybody feels good to invest in a good company. So this credibility, stakeholdership also affects the investor sentiments. And via good corporate governance practices, a company can actually follow the values of serving the last person in the line, serving the Antodaya, and it can then achieve the welfare of all. This concept is called as Antodaya via Sarvodaya, right? So giving good salary, giving good working conditions, fixed working hours, this all will actually help in the welfare of the employees. So simply writing about the CSR, the good image, you can use keywords like Antodaya, Sarvodaya, right? Stakeholdership, credibility, Gandhian sin. So that is how you bring ethics even in the a topic which is of the general studies. Then we need to consider that generally we see lot of good corporate governance being violated. Okay, many companies, they just don't follow good practices. Then what is the reason why the companies do not generally follow the good corporate governance? The reason is they actually have to talk about, they're focusing more on the ends rather than the means, right? So companies' end is making profit, but the means that they have to follow, like honesty, like integrity, that is getting compromised. So now the companies are focusing more on the ends rather than the means. For example, let's take the example of setting unrealistic target. So if a company sets unrealistic target, then they cannot actually talk about good means, right? Like for tax terrorism. So if there is unrealistic tax target, what will you do to achieve those targets? You will basically go for coercive methods. Okay, you will go for coercion. And that's what happens. There is focus more on the ends rather than the means. The second important reason that why do we see violation in the corporate governance practice is because there is a tendency to go for instant gratification. We want now. Nobody has the virtues of patience anymore. So more so with the companies, they want to go for instant gratification, and in the instant gratification, the honesty takes a toll. People are ready to go for shortcuts, right? Rather than going and patiently waiting for the long-term benefit. Moreover, we are seeing that even in the society, the vices like greed, envy, jealousy are increasing. So this, what happens in the society also happens in the companies. So why are the companies violating the good corporate governance practices? Is because of the instant gratification tendency, rise in the vices in the society. Then they are focusing more on the ends rather than the means. You can also see this. Many companies, they actually go for poor following of the good corporate governance practices is because of the poor deterrence, right? So if a person does fraud and flees away outside, there is no punishment for the violation of the laws. This actually brings the morale of the good company also down. So why should I follow laws if actually I can do away without following the laws? And we also see a tendency of crony capitalism. Now, many companies and the those who are in power, they come together, right? They come together, they go for collusive corruption. So more than merit, connection becomes important. So therefore, there is violation of the good corporate governance practices. Now, when we say that companies violate, they do not follow the good corporate governance practices, what are the kind of violation? There are many kind of violation that a company might indulge into, right? From financial frauds to human right violation to IPR issues to false promises to fake advertisements. So you can categorize your answer into the accounting violations in the form of insider trading, in the form of incorrect financial statements. You will show more of the profit to attract investment, or you will actually show less of the profit to evade the tax. So that is why the accounting violation is a bad corporate governance practice. There is misappropriation of the fund. So fund was to be used for one purpose, but it is being used for the other purpose. That is a kind of accounting violation. The other kind of violation is the human right violation. Like there is discrimination in the recruitment practices, right? You will not employ on the basis of merit. You will not recruit on the basis of merit, but because on the affinities of the caste, race, religion, etc. There is poor safety working conditions. To avoid excessive cost, people go for poor working conditions. One of the major grave thing is the sexual harassment, right? That is also a kind of the human right violation. Other is about the sales and marketing. Many companies, just to make short-term profit, they go for surrogate advertisement, they go for fake products, they go for fake advertisement. This is nothing but which compromises your corporate governance practices. So to deal with them, we have taken various steps like there have come up various laws, they have certain regulators to actually, these should help us that and the companies to follow good corporate governance practices. So we have regulators like SEBI, we have regulators like serious fraud investigating officers, we have ED, we have laws like Companies Act, and now various amendments are being in the news of the Companies Act. We have Prevention of Money Laundering Act, which should serve as a deterrence effect so that the companies do not indulge into the bad practices like PMLA. However, the external influences like laws, regulators, they're only short term, they can only work for in a near term. However, to bring a change in the long term, we need ethics, we need values, and therefore the way forward that you have to mention in your answers is you have to go for certain innovative steps. Like you can rather propose that, like there is a stock index, like stock market and the stock index, there should be ethics index, wherein the companies are basically ranked according to the ethics, according to the good corporate governance practice. Like we have credit rating agencies, we should have ethics rating agencies. We should actually promote the ease of doing honest business. And this has also been talked by our previous finance minister, that not only do we have to go for ease of doing business, we have to go for ease of doing honest business, right? Then you can also talk about learning from the other practices, role modeling, wherein the other companies' good practices can be scaled up and learned by the companies. You can talk about very generic, that is code of ethics, code of conduct. An important thing that you can talk about is the Gandhian trusteeship model. The Gandhian trusteeship model says that it is a duty of the wealthy, it is a duty of those who are in power to actually look for the welfare of the public in general. So the powerful has to go for the Antodaya, it has to go for the welfare of the poor population. Then there should be ethics committee in every organization. So try to use these ethics terms, try to use the 7 sins, the trusteeship model, the ethics index, the promoting of the ease of doing honest business. This is what is needed for your ethics answer with respect to the topic. If you like the video, please click the bell icon and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.